Tonight, I think Darlington School is asking each one of us a question. You and me, perhaps some of your loved ones, any and all of us who've been the beneficiaries of her mission. And you know the question I think she's asking us? Do you love me? Do you care for me in such a fashion that I will be able to continue to give to the coming generations of young people the same fantastic educational experience that I gave you or your loved ones? She says, do you really, really love me? And then she continues, didn't I give you my best? Didn't I give you a solid academic foundation that enabled you to go on to higher education and to excel? Didn't I give you an appreciation of literature and the arts and of music, which added another dimension to your life? Didn't I teach you self-discipline, which helped to mold your character? That character that helped you to have a successful life. Didn't I teach you responsibility so that as you move through your life, others could count on you and trust you in all manner of things? Didn't I teach you to compete fairly on my athletic fields so that you could compete fairly in a business or a profession or in some other arena of life, and so you could walk away with honor if you didn't come in first? Didn't I emphasize Christian values which became for you a rock upon which you could build a life of faith and service? And didn't you find that my teachers really cared about what you learned, but cared even more about what you became? Didn't you come to me as a young boy or a young girl and leave me as a young man or a young lady? And hadn't someone ahead of me, ahead of you, hadn't they provided for me some things that were needed in order for you to be able to have an education here? Some books and some trees and some buildings, some land, some athletic facilities that they had paid for? And hadn't they provided me with some financial resources that enable me to give you a tuition as reasonable as possible? Wasn't I here when you needed me? As you think about those questions, I'd like to tell you the story about a young boy I knew about. He wasn't doing very well in school, he wasn't failing, but he certainly was poorly motivated and he wasn't being challenged. And furthermore, he was bashful and self-conscious and insecure. And the prospects were poor that he would ever have a very successful life. But he did have two things going for him. Two loving and concerned parents who heard about Darlington School and made sacrifices so they can send him here. And when he got to Darlington, he found a completely different atmosphere. He found all those things that we talked about a moment ago. Christian values, teachers who cared, challenging curriculum, an emphasis on duty and honor, discipline, and an emphasis on excellence, an emphasis on achievement, an emphasis on the things that make a positive life. And with Darlington's encouragement, with Darlington's influence, he was able to turn his life around. And he went on to graduate from Darlington with honor. And with the help that Darlington given him, the foundation that Darlington gave him, and the head start that Darlington gave him, he was able to go on to college and to graduate from college. And then to have a business career more successful than he ever believed possible. And as time passed and he grew older, he realized more and more that Darlington had been one of the most important influences in his life, and the most important influence in turning his life around at the critical moment. And he felt he ought to grow closer to Darlington and to be more supportive of Darlington and to express his gratitude in Darlington in some way. And then one day they asked him to speak at a Darlington's president's dinner. And as apprehensive as he was, he couldn't say no. And that's why I'm up here tonight. Not because of anything special I've done, but because of something special Darlington did for me. That frightened, self-conscious, insecure young man that walked onto the Darlington campus some 50 plus years ago, that was me. Maybe that was you too. You, or somebody close to you who, like me, now owes Darlington a debt we can never repay.